You know, friendship is supposed to be one of the best parts of being human. But let's be real, in this super connected world we live in, it can also be a huge source of confusion and even pain. So today, we're going to break down why it can hurt so much, and more importantly, we'll walk through a clear strategy to actually fix it. Okay, let's get into it.
Ugh, man, it is a uniquely modern kind of awful, isn't it? You put yourself out there, you craft the perfect message, you hit send, and then you get nothing. Just that little blue check mark staring back at you, a silent confirmation that you've been seen and totally ignored. If you've ever felt that sinking feeling in your stomach, you are in the right place.
And let's be clear, this isn't just a slow fade out. Ghosting is different. It's a sudden vanishing act. I mean, one minute you're trading memes and making plans, and the next, total radio silence. It just leaves you hanging, right? Stuck with a million questions and absolutely zero answers.
And look, if you have ever felt like maybe you were just overreacting to being ghosted, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not. That pain you feel, it is 100% real, it is totally valid, and believe it or not, science can actually explain why it cuts so deep.
So here's the wild behind-the-scenes science on this. For explorers, neuroscientists have actually put people in brain scanners and found that social rejection, like being ghosted, it lights up the exact same parts of your brain as physical pain does. I mean, think about it from an evolutionary point of view. For ancestors, getting kicked out of the tribe was basically a death sentence. So our brains developed this super intense alarm system for social threats. Your brain literally processes that silence almost the same way it would process a broken bone. So no, you're not being too sensitive. You're having a genuine pain response that's hardwired into you for survival. Okay, so we know the pain is real. The next logical step for most of us is to immediately blame ourselves. But this is the exact moment where we need to completely reframe the situation. The real key to moving on is to get inside the ghoster's head. And here's a little secret. Their silence is almost never actually about you. The real reasons people disappear are almost always about their own stuff, their own limitations. For explorers, maybe they are so terrified of any kind of confrontation that they'd rather just vanish. Or they have this deep-seated fear of getting close to people, so they bolt when things get real. Honestly, a lot of the time, it's just plain old emotional immaturity. They just don't have the skills to have an adult conversation. Understanding this is a safe, practical way to see it's their issue, not a flaw in you.
So this is the big takeaway here, and I really want you to let this one sink in. Their inability to communicate with you is a reflection of their character, of their capacity for respect. It is not, and never will be, a judgment on your value as a human being. In a weird way, they just showed you exactly who they are.
All right, so we've diagnosed the problem, we get it. Now let's talk about the solution. Because building better friendships isn't really about trying to avoid rejection, it's about developing the psychological skills to bravely and effectively connect with the right people. So let's explore one of the biggest things that holds us back, just the fear of being rejected. Here's something almost no one talks about. It's a cognitive bias that social scientists call the liking gap. Study after study has shown that after we talk to someone new, we consistently and massively underestimate how much that person actually liked us. In other words, that critical voice in your head telling you they didn't like you, it's probably wrong. Now, knowing that, we can use it to our advantage. We can create something called an acceptance prophecy. It's a really simple 3-step framework. For strategists, step 1, just go into social situations with the default assumption that people are probably going to like you. Because, as we just saw, they probably will. Step 2, that assumption naturally makes you act a little warmer, a little more open and friendly. And step 3, well, that warmth and openness makes it way more likely that people will, in fact, actually like you. See, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a really safe and practical way to just flip the script on social anxiety. For settlers. Okay, but even if you assume people like you, there's another hurdle to get over: covert avoidance. This is a fancy term for something we all do. We show up somewhere physically, but we totally check out mentally. We're in the room, but our head is buried in our phone, or we're just kind of standing there waiting for someone else to make the first move. I think people like us, our crowd, we know this feeling all too well. And honestly, this is where the magic happens. Just being in the same room isn't enough. You have to actually engage. Adult friendships don't just happen by accident. For a real connection to spark,
Somebody in that room has to be the brave one, the one who puts their phone down, looks up, and actually starts a conversation.
So you've got the mindset down. You're ready to be brave. But where, exactly, do you go to do all this? Well, the final piece of this puzzle isn't just in your head. It's about your environment. Let's talk about the incredible power of what are called third places.
So, a sociologist named Ray Oldenburg came up with this really simple but brilliant framework. He said we all have three main places in our lives. Our first place, that's home. Our second place, that's work. But the magic, the community, the connection, he argued that happens in our third place.
So what is a third place? It's basically any informal public space where people can just gather and connect without any big agenda. You can think of it like the living room of a community. Places like coffee shops, libraries, parks. It's where community gets built naturally. And these places, they are everywhere once you start looking. It could be the dog park you go to on Saturdays, a weekly yoga class, a book club. The key is that they are places of repeated, unplanned interaction. And that's the secret ingredient we need as adults for friendships to form organically without all the pressure. These are all totally doable even if you're new to town. And that brings us to the most important point of all. We put so much pressure on ourselves thinking we have to be super interesting or funny or charismatic to make friends. But the truth is, it's not about that. It's about showing up in a shared space, getting over that little bit of avoidance, and simply making the other person feel like they're seen and that they matter. So I want to leave you with this question. Forget your home address, forget your work address. If your social life, your community, had an address, where would it be? Is it a coffee shop, a hiking trail, a weekly meetup? And once you have that place in your mind, the only question left is, are you brave enough to really show up?
If this touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share it with your family.